You know, sometimes history can be more crazier. Sometimes reality can be more crazier than fiction. We go get into it, y'all. Y'all know what this is. It's Ben Kemperall, the great. Tap in, everybody. Tap in. Tap in. Tap in. Tap in, folks. Tap in. Y'all know what this is. Who in the building already? God's soul. Peace and blessings, God's soul. How you doing today? Yeah, we get going in there today. Yeah, tap in, tap in. Yes, indeedy. We go tap into it, man. I like to usually wait for everybody to fill in, and take their seats, and what I'm saying, get ready to build. And you got a very interesting show today. Very interesting. They say one of the greatest tricks that the devil ever pulled is making people believe that he did not exist. But he exists, and he's real active today. And we're going to talk about a lot of clues that he leave hiding literally in plain sight. And a lot of people just don't believe. Just don't believe. But they will, though. They will. They will. They definitely will. They listen to me long enough, you're definitely going to see it. And we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about it. Appreciate everybody that was on the last show that was building. Also, too, people that are in live, man, I want y'all to go get some of this right here. This is very necessary in these days and time. Very necessary. Go on my website, jewelsfromthethrone.com. Get you some of this. It's basically a sour sop. This is the fat belly elixir. It helps get rid of the parasites inside of your body. Parasites are very controlling. They make you have sugar craves. They make you they alter your mind to make you start doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, falling into temptation. All of that stuff happens when, what I'm saying, you have your body is infested with parasites. So, what I'm saying, it's good to take you some soursop. It's a natural bitter. Parasites don't like it. It tastes nasty to them. It kills them off. It's been known to, what I'm saying, get rid of a lot of the temptations and stuff like that you have, sugar cravings and stuff like that, because the parasites release chemicals in your body that make you fiend for sugar. So go on my website. I have this and the green bottle. is soursop. It gets rid of the parasites in your body. Go to jewelsfromthethrone.com. Jewelsfromthethrone.com and order you some soursop elixir, the flat belly or the soursop. Get rid of those parasites in your body. I'm telling you, it's nasty, but it definitely works. People don't understand a lot of those cancer cells that you find in your body is your body gathering up the parasites in your body and getting rid and isolating them. The reason why a tumor keeps growing is because it's alive. And the things inside of the tumors are alive. They're called parasites. So if you're suffering from any kind of cancer, this can help because it get rid of the parasites in your body. And they found out that tumors are literally balls of parasites, which is why they try to kill it off with radiation. Come on, people, wake up, wake up, wake up. But there's natural ways of killing off parasites. You know what I'm saying? Natural ways without you having to take radiation in your body and damn near killing all of your cells in your body to basically kill off the parasites in your body. Ashe? Ashe. Ashe. So we got a very, very important lesson. I hope it's a fun lesson for those who are seekers of knowledge. I hope it's a lesson that give you a better perspective of the history of this world. Also give you a better perspective of what time that you're actually living in now. So when you understand where you're at now, you'll understand what's actually going on right now. Especially with this whole MAGA Trump movement, you don't even understand what this movement actually is and why it's the way that it's, why it's setting up the way that it is, and why it's so detrimental on all of the races of the world. MAGA has attacked Hispanics, MAGA has attacked Black people, MAGA has attacked Africans, MAGA has attacked the Russians, MAGA has attacked the Arabs, and has attacked the Asians. Everybody that's not in the line or in tune with the MAGA movement, or they consider to be a threat, they're attacking them. But a lot of people don't really understand the history of the devil, so you don't even understand that the devil was who's actually running the country right now. This MAGA movement is more of a religious movement than anything, like I tell you. You know, the reason why they consider themselves to be a Christian nationalist organization is because they're following the same principles of their leader and teacher, which is the devil. And until you understand that, you won't really look at them for what they are. You won't really look at the fact that Trump is the devil. If you don't understand that, then please, nothing else I'm about to explain to you is going to make sense to you. And if you don't understand the history of this nation, as far as all of the presidents that have been in this nation, you're definitely not about to understand what I'm about to tell you. Now, literally, I'm telling you, like I tell you all the time, they literally hide in plain sight. So like I told you, when people didn't understand that, when you look at the movies like the Ten Commandments over here in America, they always show you that the king at that time was King Seti. And they actually, the capital of Set was where he was worshipped at, was in a city called Everest in Egypt. And the people there basically worship the devil in northern Egypt. He had his own temples and everything. But at that time, he wasn't looked at as being a so-called evil deity until they actually felt his power and then realized that the devil was actually real. And that's when the ancient Egyptians actually started to associate Set with the devil because of the sins that he had committed against the people by literally enslaving them. So when I talk to a lot of the Hebrew Israelites about this history right here, a lot of them forgot the fact that it was the Hyksos who came down from Europe and conquered North Africa and conquered North Egypt, where they worshiped the devil at. So when you hear Hebrew Israelites say that people who were Israelites fell from the grace of God and actually started worshiping the devil, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about the order of Set, the cosmic energy of chaos, disorder, and devilishment. And this is a historical fact. A lot of people believe that the devil is not a manifested being, but he has manifested himself in reality a lot of times. But he always changes his name so that you won't recognize who he is. So he's not going to tell you that his name is Trump now, or he's not going to tell you that his name is Andrew Jackson, or he's not going to tell you that his name is George Washington. He's not going to necessarily tell you that, but his ways and actions are going to be in accordance with what he does, because it's about a order, not a necessary person. It's a person who's willing to follow what the devil does that makes them who they are. Now, I know what you're thinking, Man Keppera. Why do you have a picture of Darth Vader in your background, and how does that relate to MAGA? How does that relate to Donald Trump? And how does that relate to history? Well, sometimes in Hollywood, they literally put the science out there for you to see, like I told you, with the 10 Commandments. Hollywood came out with the movie 10 Commandments and said that the king who was enslaving the Hebrews, his name was King Seti. And not only did they do that one time, but they've done that 4 times in Hollywood and Egyptian movies that they have came out with. And then when you go and you actually study King Seti, verse 1 and 2, you will actually see why they say it was King Seti. Now, they don't want to come out here and actually tell you that it was them who came down and enslaved the Hebrew Israelites down in Goshen and North Egypt. They're not going to come out here and tell you that. They'll play dumb, but they'll put it in the movie for you to actually see. And for those who have eyes, can actually see the truth, as opposed for those who don't have eyes and can't figure out that the historical reference of the devil is really Set. Because even though they tell you that ancient Egyptian history is just based upon, you know, what's that called? Mysteries and uh, um, what's the other word? Mysticism, or what do they call it? Yeah, basically mystery, history, or whatever. Mythology, that's the word for it. Even though they tell you that ancient Egypt is based on mythology, you shouldn't go off of their words, you should go off their actions. If it was based on mythology, then why are they over there digging up the grave so much? And even though they tell you that Asar, who they call Osiris now, is a mystical, mythological being, they've actually found his grave and know that he was an actual real person. So that means that if Asar was an actual real person, then Set, the devil who killed him, was also an actual real person. So I know we've all have watched the Star Wars movie. I've watched the Star Wars movie. A lot of people have watched the Star Wars movies, and you see the people that call themselves the Jedi who are fighting against the order of Sith. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that, and if you're not familiar with that, let me give you a quick history on that real fast. Star Wars was a movie that was about the force of the energy of the universe. And it was based on the understanding of duality, of understanding the light force and the dark force, which is actually right and exact. And literally, you live within that light and dark force every single day. You have the light for which we're living in now when beautiful Ra shots down and gives us the power of creation and gives us the power to produce life. And then you have the forces of darkness, which actually is the opposite of light, which takes life and creates destruction, mayhem, and chaos. So, in that aspect of understanding Star Wars, you're basically watching a movie of darkness fight against light. But the thing about it is, as you get deeper into understanding this story, you understand that this story is not based really on fantasy, but actually based upon reality. The names, like they say, the names have changed, the players have changed, but if you're really sharp, you'll be actually see historically where they get these two orders from. The order of the Jedi is actually an ancient Egyptian term for the Jed, or the order of Asar. The order of the Sith is actually the order of Set, not Sith, but actually Set. Set. Set and the Jed. The Jedi and the order of Set. Now, I know a lot of y'all probably thinking, it's just a movie and it has nothing to do with reality. Let me tell you something. It has a lot to do with reality. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll hide these stories in plain sight to unconsciously and subconsciously implant this in your mind and in theirs. And when after this lesson, I hope when you go back and you look at that movie, you look at it a little bit different. Or hopefully a lot different. So the order of Seth, right? Which is really, like I said, the order of Set is who they have been worshiping this whole time and why their philosophy towards the world is viewed the same way as the dark force. Now, I know what you're thinking. Man, how is that? Well, the thing about it is that once you understand how it goes, you'll understand where it comes from. So if you go back and you study the philosophy of Sith, like I told you, Sith is really set. And before we do that, well, let's back up. So let me give y'all a quick little history. When you go and you read about the Ten Commandments, right? And you study, like I tell people, when you study the actual land for where the Hebrew Israelites were at, when they were put in bondage for 400 years up under the rule of the kings of both Seti first and Seti the second, you will actually see that in that town where Set was worshipped at, which was called Avaris, was actually the town in which Goshen was located. So Avaris was located in the township of Goshen, where the Hebrew Israelites was at. And a lot of people at that time worshiped a deity called Set. And what happened is that the Hyksos, when they came down from the north, they conquered northern Egypt and made their capital Avaris, which was where they worshiped Set, or their god, what they called Baal, Baal. So that's who they worshiped at that time. So when you hear the Hebrew Israelites say that the reason why they were enslaved is because they fell from the grace of God and started performing and worshiping wickedness, it's because in their township where they was at, the major deity that they worshiped was Set. And Set ruled over all of that land in that area. And when the Hyksos came, who were also worshipers of Set, they ruled over that land and enslaved the people there and dressed themselves up as pharaohs and called themselves the worshipers of the devil. So this isn't a mythological thing that happened in history. This is something that actually happened in history where people in that township were ruled by the devil. And they had made altars to him in that town. Let me say that again. I don't know if you understand how deep what I'm saying is. The devil actually ruled on a throne in ancient Egypt, in the north part of Egypt, what we call Lower Egypt, in a town called Goshen, which you hear about in the Ten Commandments. And their ruler was a king called King Seti, who was the devil. And they had altars in a city called Everest dedicated to the devil. And when they came and ruled over those people and made them build up towns and monuments in there, they did it with the power that they had got from the devil. And that's why I had a debate with Christians last week when I asked them, who gave you the power to rule over African Americans and enslave them? Because there's only one person you can get that power from. And they play dumb and act like what I was saying, it make no sense. And I'm talking fantasy and what I'm talking about ain't real and this and that. And we don't know what you're talking about. But like I told them, it's a historical fact. So we're just going off of the history that we've learned from you. The Hebrew Israelites were enslaved by the devil, who put on the uniform of a pharaoh from a foreign land to rule over the people. They had already had idols of the devil in the town when the devil came and conquered them. Already had idols already set up in the town of who they were worshiping. And for 400 years plus, they were in bondage by the devil. So then that's why I turned around and I asked the Christians for 400 years, who were y'all worshiping? Because you wasn't worshiping Jesus, but we now know who it was. And in this movie right here, when you hear about the return of the Jedi, and they, they mix it around or whatever. But the thing about it is, even within this movie, they talk about the order of Seth. And the most powerful person in this order is the emperor of the Sith Empire, which is Darth Vader. And it's not by mistake that when you look at his helmet, it looks similar to a pharaoh's helmet. Very similar. He wears a cape and is part of the dark order of the universe. Now, I'm sure a lot of y'all think that that's just, and these are many a times that the devil has popped up, and we'll talk more and more about it, but I just want to show how the connection between Donald Trump, the MAGA empire, and the Seth order on which they follow. And let me explain to you exactly what the Seth order is. It says the philosophy of the Seth order in Star Wars is centered on passion, power, and the rejection of selflessness. It's often summarized by the Seth code. Peace is a lie, which they come out and tell you that peace to strength. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The force shall set us free. Let me read that again, and you tell me, do you see the similarities in the MAGA's projection of propaganda? Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The force shall set me free. Emotion as a source of power. Unlike the Jedi who suppress feelings to maintain peace, the Sith channel anger, fear, and desire to fuel their connection of the force. What is right now? Who is the head of the Department of War? Not the Department of Peace, but the Department of War. Pete Hank Seth. Let me say that again. Pete Hank Seth. It's not by mistake that his name is Pete Hegseth. I don't believe in coincidences. Never have, never will. Pete Hegseth. You can look his name up if you want to. He is the head and Department of War right now. And like I tell you, sometimes reality can be more crazier. The rule of two, established by Darth Bane, only two sets exist, a master and an apprentice, to prevent infighting and preserve knowledge. President, vice president. Survival of the fittest. The apprentice must eventually destroy the master to prove their strength, ensuring only the most powerful lead. Isn't that how politics is in America? In order for you to be the next president, you must what? Talk bad about your predecessor or anybody that what? That you must compete with, right? Huh? Freedom through domination, breaking external rules, including moral and societal codes, is seen as liberation achieved through seizing power, others, and oneself. Let me read that again. Freedom through domination. I really want y'all to understand that. Freedom through domination is the order of Set. Not freedom because you want everybody else to be free. No, you maintain your freedom through the domination of others. So the order of Set is not to free you so you can be free. It's to dominate you so they can be free. As long as they're dominating you, they control the land. As long as they're dominating you, they control the power infrastructure. As long as they're dominating you, people. Freedom through domination is the order of Set. He don't believe in you having freedom and him having freedom too. Ain't that what we see in Iran? They don't believe that for nobody across the world that they should be free. The only people who are allowed to be free is the people who are up under the rule of Set. That means that Latino people can't be free. That means that Asian people can't be free. That means that Black people can't be free. That means that the Arabs can't be free. That means that nobody can be free. And the only person that is allowed to be free is them. And they believe that their freedom comes from dominating everybody else. Freedom through domination, or as they like to say it now, peace through strength. I'm talking about the MAGA party, Donald Trump. That's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the historical reference of the devil then and the devil now and how he rules. What does peace through strength mean? Peace through strength mean is that we must dominate the world to keep ourselves free. We must oppress everybody across the globe to maintain our own freedom. And haven't they shown that that's their ideology? That nobody is to be free except them. Let's read that again. I hope I'm not going too deep for a lot of people, but I really want you to understand what I'm saying. I know a lot of y'all don't believe that the devil exists, but he does. And he's alive and well in this nation right now. But unless you understand his thinking, you won't understand why he views the world the way that he does. You're trying to appeal to somebody with morality who does not believe in morality. You're trying to appeal to people about being a humanitarian who don't believe in that. That's not part of their doctrine. Their doctrine isn't to appease the weak. Their doctrine is to crush the weak, to dominate the weak, to keep you weak, not to make you an equal, but to dominate you. Because as they say in their order, freedom through domination, Breaking eternal rules, including moral and societal codes, is seen as liberation of truths achieved through seizing power over others as well and oneself. So while y'all trying to penalize them for these Epstein files, this is all part of their code. This is all part of the order of Seth, of domination of the weak, of exploitation of the weak. So you should understand that all of them that are a part of this order, both the Democrats and the Republicans, they're a part of this order because they don't believe that freedom comes from weakness. Freedom comes from domination. Freedom comes from going to other countries and taking their resources, not asking for it, not following the international court, not following the Geneva Convention. These are the same people who literally dominate and take advantage of the weak across the world, both Democrat and Republican, because they don't believe in the God Asar, they believe in the God Set. And they have a historical relationship with him through the ages. And they have followed his order for power. And he has granted them power. He has granted them power. So while you sit there and say, well, why are they getting away with the Epstein and why are they doing these things that are immoral and getting away with it? Because it's part of their code. It's part of the set's code of domination, which gives them freedom. It's the same thing of what they tell you in the Bible. Jesus died so they could live. How else can you rationalize 400 years of slavery other than Jesus forgave them for their sins? And being that he forgave them for their sins, his death gives them life, freedom through domination. And they know that Jesus is black. And they know that every time a black man rises up, like Asar did, what do? They try to kill him. Not because they're all of a sudden not worshipers of Jesus. They never was. That's why they don't have no commandments in the Bible. Christians don't follow commandments because they said that anything that they can do is fair game now. That means raping girls, killing people, all the sins that they commit, Jesus' blood has covered it. Freedom through domination because there is nobody to stop them. Just as if now there is nobody to stop them now. They killed God to get power. Let me say that again. And this is an old story in Egypt. Set tricked and killed his brother so that he could take over the throne and ancient Kemet. The Romans killed Jesus so they could take over the throne of ancient Egypt. They killed whoever is on the throne to take power. And once they kill that person, they gain power. Freedom through domination, not through worship, not through being passive. In essence, the Sith embrace a radical individualistic Darwinian worldview where morality is weakness and the ultimate goal is unlimited freedom through absolute power. Let me say that again. In essence, the Sith embrace a radical individualistic Darwinian worldview where morality is weakness and the ultimate goal is unlimited freedom through absolute power. Not by sharing, not by being friends, not by being cool with each other or having peace with each other. The MAGA party didn't come out here to be nobody's friends. They came out here to rule through absolute power. Freedom through strength, or as they say, freedom through domination. What's the difference? And sometimes, like I said, they hide it in plain sight. And they'll tell you about the battles that they've had. And it's not by mistake to me that Star Wars, Star Wars, space program, that Trump coming out with, we look at them as just being movies. But what you should see if you've grown up in these countries is that a lot of things that you used to think were fiction have actually come to reality. Things that you used to think that, well, we'll see if they come up with these things. They're actually reality now. They're actually a reality now. So how much of those movies that you used to watch are really just fiction? Because now if we was to go back and look at a lot of those movies, I think we would classify them now as not fictional movies, but more like non-fiction movies. Non-fiction movies. So like I told you, what you're understanding is what the Masons keep the knowledge to themselves of the study of dark energy and light energy, and they just put it in a movie and they change the characters up a little bit so that you wouldn't really understand it. But the Jedi, or the Jedi, was the order of Asar, had a different philosophy then, and they was both masters, like I told you. It's only always been two orders that have ran this world. King Asar and King Set. Both of them built the greatest, biggest empires across this world then and now. And even though you might look at it as being a mythical place, go to Kemet and tell me if it's mythical after looking at those mega monuments over there. And you will see that there's a thin line between what you think reality is and what reality really is. And since we have been brainwashed and have been lost of this knowledge and loss of the order, a lot of what I'm telling you, you think is just fictional or just based upon mythology, but it's not. It's not based on mythology. It's actually based upon facts. And I know there's a lot of Star Wars heads out there that love to watch the movie, but this isn't a fictional character, nor is the Order of Set. It's actually not. It's actually the order in which we're living in right now. We're living up under the order of the Sith. They just disguise themselves as being MAGA and all this other stuff, but their philosophy of how they viewed the world is not the same philosophy of the Djed people. They look at the Djed people as actually being weak. Let's read that again. The philosophy of Set in Star Wars is centered on passion, power, and the rejection of selflessness. It's often summarized by the Sith code. Peace is a lie. I'm sure y'all have heard that. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The force shall set us free. Key principles: emotion as a source of power. Unlike the Jedi who suppress feelings to maintain peace, the Sith channel anger, fear, and desire to fuel their connection to the Force. The rule of two, established by Darth Bane. Only two Siths exist at a time, a master and an apprentice, meaning president, vice president, to prevent infighting and preserve knowledge. Survival of the fittest. The apprentice must eventually destroy the master to prove strength, ensuring only the most powerful lead. So when you see Trump, when he was running for office, what did he have to do? He had to destroy his opponents, not by being kind, not by being a friend to them, but he had to say the most devilish, the most meanest, the most arrogant things that he can think of to show his constituents that he was fit to rule, not because he was nice, but because he was the meanest person for the job. He was the evilest person for the job. He was the nastiest person for the job. This is the rule of Set. Not power through weakness, but power through strength. Freedom through domination. Breaking external rules, including moral and societal codes, is seen as liberation, achieved through seizing power over others and oneself. Breaking external rules, including moral and societal codes. How many moral codes has Trump broken? How many societal codes has Trump broken? To the point where he's a convicted felon. Not leadership through being kind, as no president has shown, but leadership through destroying all moral codes and societal codes. Freedom through domination, or as Pete Hegseth likes to say, peace through strength, or freedom through strength. In essence, the set embrace a radical individualistic Darwinian worldview where morality is weakness and the ultimate goal is unlimited freedom through absolute power. Isn't that how the Europeans have ruled? They have received unlimited power, unlimited freedom through absolute power. So if you wonder why they don't get convicted for shooting at black people, if you wonder why they don't get convicted, even though we know that they're doing wrong things, you have to realize the moral code that you live by and the moral code that they live by is two different things. You're begging the devil for morality when he has none. You're begging the devil to be a humanitarian when he isn't one. He don't even live by that code. To him, that code is weakness. He doesn't live by morality, never has. So it's nothing for him to go around conquering the world doing the most immoral, inhumane things because his code that he lives by isn't a code of peace and harmony, but a code of destruction and chaos, a code of enslavement of the weak. If you're weak, you're only good for servitude. If you're weak, you're only good to be a slave. If you're weak, you're only setting yourself up to be dominated. This is the code in which they live by. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The force shall set us free. So even though the Christians are running around telling everybody that they believe in the blood of Jesus has cured them of all of their sins, what they're really telling you is that the only person who could have saved you was Jesus, and they do not believe in his commandments for which his fathers came through. They only believe in the commandments of Seth, which is why they don't follow no commandments, because they have no boundaries of morality. They have no code other than the code of Set that they live by. And that's it. Whew. And they hide it. And like I told you, survival of the fittest, freedom through domination. So if you wonder where the MAGA get their ideology and principles from, I know it doesn't seem like this is where they get it from, but it is. The Sith code is actually the Set code. And the person that's in charge of the Department of War, his name just happens to be Pete Hegseth. I know it. I know it sounds crazy. But reality is sometimes crazy. Man. So what's the other order? Or when you see him in the movie, the Jedi, or as his real name is, the Jedi, what does they represent? The Jed is a pillar like symbol representing stability, endurance, and resurrection. It was closely associated with Asar, the god of the afterlife, and later Ptah, the creator god of Memphis. You're saying the rising of the Djed ceremony was performed to ensure cosmic and political stability, especially during festivals like the Heb-Seb, connection to Ptah. So basically, in other words, the Jedi was about the order of the universe. They followed the order of Asar, which was the opposite order of Seth. And it was a constant battle between those who had who were slaves and it got free, and to those who were the slave masters and were trying to maintain their positions of power, which is the same thing that you see now that's going on inside of society now. Those who are slaves and want to get free from the evil empire of Seth, and those who are the slave masters who work day and night to keep you in the order of Seth and to keep you subservient to this order. It's really deep, but like I said, it's literally hanging, it's literally right in front of your face. I'm gonna open up the phones now. Anybody who wanna build, add on, or criticize anything that I'm just talking about right now, the phone lines are open at 323-497-6825. That's 323-497-6825. 323-497-6825. Has anybody else studied the order of Sith or the order of Set and have anything to add on to that, or have I shot too far for everybody to understand anything that I'm saying, especially if you're probably not a person who has studied Star Wars or know anything about Star Wars? The thing about it is that the subconscious mind, especially through videos and movies, is always being implanted all the time with information. And it's not by mistake that this is one of the most biggest movies in America, is because it's also based on a lot of historical history that a lot of people aren't privileged to because they really don't know the history of this world. And they only know so much because they haven't really studied, especially dealing with ancient Egyptian history, which teaches you about a lot of the things that are still prevalent to this day. You got to remember, when they established America, they established America off of three societies: Rome, Greece, and ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt for its technology, Greece for its political philosophy, and Rome for its military philosophy. But the three things that all of those things have in common is that all three of those societies all worship the devil. Rome did, Greece did, and ancient Egypt, when they was taken over by the devil, did also. So unless you really understand that, you won't really understand too many things. And like I told y'all, it's not by mistake that right before we went to war with Iran, one of the first things that they did was burn a statue of the devil ball in their town square at a rally as a symbol to America of who they know the history of the people who run the country. And that's why you don't see no prosecution of anybody who's in the Epstein files except for the fall guy who they say is dead. But I wouldn't doubt that he actually killed himself because in their order, they would rather be dead than be a slave. Huh? Don't be shy. The number's 323-497-6825. That's 323-497-6825. Am I the only one who put this puzzle together, or nobody else has actually figured this out, that America is being ran by the devil? Am I the only one that figured that out? I can't be the only person that figured out that America's being ran by the devil. I mean, come on now, y'all. And the reason why I really explain this, especially to our people, is because you keep trying to get people who had classified themselves as your enemy, you keep trying to get them to reason, but there is no reasoning with the devil. You keep trying to get him to be humanitarian when there's no reason with them. It's like when we ask for reparations. You're never going to get reparations from the devil. How do you ever expect to get reparations from the devil when it's not within his philosophy to do that? His philosophy is, I conquered you, you were weak, you deserve to be slaves, you deserve servitude, you deserve to be in jail, you deserve to be in prison because you're weak. And until you make yourself stronger, we're never going to let you go. You're never going to get your freedom by being passive. You're never going to get your freedom by being docile. If you want your freedom from him, you're going to have to take it. You're going to have to defeat him. Other than that, they're not going to give you nothing. No reparations, none of that. Because it's not part of the code of the devil to do that. They believe that as long as they keep you enslaved, it keeps them free. As long as they continue to abuse you, they don't have to worry about you abusing them. As long as they dominate you, that's all they care about. There is no freedom through friendship. It's freedom through domination. When he says he wants to make America great again, he's talking about dominating you, making you subservient to him and his followers, destroying you, destroying everything that you thought gave you freedom. Your civil rights bills, your constitutional rights, all those things don't mean nothing to him. The only thing that matters to him is freedom through domination. That's why America still to this day is the biggest holder of imprisoned people in the world. Nobody rivals in the world how many prisoners America has in jail. And the reason why that is because they don't believe in freedom through friendship. They believe in freedom through domination. And once you understand this philosophy, you'll know how to deal with the devil accordingly, as opposed to trying to appeal to his morality side. He has no morality. There is no morality within the devil. He only seeks to enslave you, keep you in bondage, take your wealth and your resources from you, discard you, or kill you. And it's not just for us, it's for the Arabs too who don't get in line. It's for the South Americans who don't get in line. It's for the European nations who don't get in line. It's for the Africans who don't get in line. It's for the Asians who don't get in line. They don't believe in friendship across the world. They believe in domination across the world. Period. Until you understand that, you won't understand the devil at all. You'll be trying to keep appealing to a side of him that does not exist. And I've showed y'all countless times on this show how that's true. I've let people call in, and when you ask them, it's not, hey, we want to repair what we have done to Black people. No, it's we want to continue to dominate you. We want to continue to exploit you. We want to continue to destroy you. We want to put more abortion clinics in your community. We want to put more officers in your community. We want to build more jails in your community. It's never peace through friendship. It's freedom through domination. And that's why it was so important that when the Nation of Islam came out and taught you that the devil was the one who enslaved you, that you hold on to that knowledge, not discard it, but hold on to it. Because regardless of how nice they appear to be to you, you have to judge a thing not by what comes out of its mouth, but by what its ways and actions. And its ways and actions should show and prove to you who they really are. What they really believe in, and what they really do. And that's why I don't really understand when a lot of these organizations be crying and trying to appeal to the morality of the devil. The mere fact that they literally committed genocide and killed a whole nation of people should let you know they really don't care. And if you, the only way you can get them ever to change their ways is through force, because that's the only energy that the universe respects. Everything that we have gotten this nation has been through force. If you wanted to be free, you had to force yourself to freedom. We had to go to war in the Civil War in order to stop the South from enslaving our people. And then when they turned around and enslaved us in Jim Crow, we had to have a civil rights movement in order to free ourselves again. But that was only through force. It wasn't by being nice. And that's gone for every nation across the world that has fought against the devil. The devil only respects military might, and he only believes that he can be free by dominating the world. Period. And that's why I tell you, this nation that calls itself a Christian nation and the Christian philosophy is not based upon peace-loving God or peace-loving Ra. It's based on the ideology of the devil, which started with George Washington and has continued on with every president, except for Abraham Lincoln, who was what? Assassinated. And then when we got free again through John F. Kennedy, what was he? Assassinated. Why? Because he wasn't following the rules of Seth. He wasn't following the code of the devil. Period. Yes, the devil has a philosophy too. Yes, the devil has an ideology too. And like I told you, it's not by mistake that every Sunday you go to church and worship the death of the same people who brought you this religion, who they killed, because they still follow within that tradition. Ain't it funny to you that the same country that tells you that they're Christians don't follow none of the ways of Jesus? None of them. None of the ways of Jesus. And that's not because they haven't read the book. They've read the book and know the truth. So while you sitting there being passive and worshiping Jesus, that knowledge was for you. But who they really follow is Seth. And they follow his code, and that's how they have gotten power. The phone lines is open, 323-497-6825. Anybody disagree with me, the lines is open. Please. I would love to hear your rebuttal on anything that I'm saying. And please don't say, well, this is just a movie. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's just a movie. It's such a movie that it has its own ideology and concepts behind it, because it's just a movie. I don't believe, listen to me. One of the most mind-blowing things I understood was when Candace Owens told me, she's the first I give her credit. She's the first one to tell me that the Pentagon had a budget for making movies in America. And a lot of people don't know that. But that's actual truth and reality. There is a budget that the government comes out with to brainwash its people through Hollywood movies, to promote patriotism, to promote an ideology, and to send what they call dog whistles to those who have the vision to actually see it. And like I said, it's to me, it's not by mistake that the person that is in control of the Department of War name just happened to be Pete Hegseth. I don't believe in coincidences. And I'm sure a lot of y'all don't believe in that either. The phone lines is open at 323-497-6825. That's 323-497-6825. 323-497-6825. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir. I hope you guys already know this. Maybe I'm just preaching to the choir. Huh? Ah, don't be shy now. I know my knowledge be impactful and deep. I'm surprised the Christians aren't calling. Hmm. Maybe if I've stumped them on this one too, huh? The number's 323-497-6825. Where's all the MAGA supporters out there? Trump supporters. I guess they don't disagree with me. And I know they don't. I know for a fact the Trump supporters don't disagree with me at all. Because they know exactly what I'm saying is true. And they're not gonna expose themselves or act like what I'm saying is a lie because they've already heard Trump literally preach to you the teachings of Seth so that you can actually see it. And then when you look at society, you'll actually see that is what I'm saying is actually right and exact. Now, this is research that I have actually done and putting the two and two together to actually see where this power to go around. Because a lot of black folks ask me all the time, like, well, where they get the power to just go over there and tell the Iranians, you know what I'm saying, that they can't have no uranium enrichment and they can't have this and that or whatever. Well, once you understand that their philosophy is, you know what I'm saying, freedom through domination, then you understand why they behave the way that they behave. Because they feel that the only way they can stay free is through dominating others, oppressing others, so they don't have to worry about them. Well, you think the laws on black people are so restrictive when it comes to guns, when it comes to weapons and things of that nature? Because they want to keep domination over you. And being that they want to keep domination on you, over you, they have to keep you weaponless. They have to keep you docile. They have to keep you passive, non-aggressive. They have to keep you weak. Freedom through domination. Not friendship, but domination. And once you understand that philosophy, you'll understand everything and why they do it. Not to be your friend, but to dominate and control you. And that's why every time you turn around, they're always in your business. They're always watching you. They're always patrolling your neighborhoods. Not because they want to make sure that it's peace in the neighborhood, but they're waiting for you to commit a crime so they can throw you in jail and check you off the list as they continue with their process of eradication of Black people in America. Freedom through domination. Or as Pete Hegseth says, they went from, it's so clear and simple for me to see, but they went from Department of Peace to Department of War. And then they kept this same philosophy. They disguised it when it was Department of Peace because they don't even believe in peace. That's why you see them in war every couple of days, because peace is a lie. What peace? They don't believe in peace at all. They only believe in war. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The force shall set us free. The number's 323-497-6825. Like I said, y'all go on my website, get y'all some of this soursop on jewelsfromthethrone.com. Check it out. It's very, very good for you. Gets the parasites out of your body, gets the cancer cells out of your body, because cancer ain't nothing but parasites. Lowers your sugar craving so that you don't feed the parasites. Very, very good for you. Check out my website, jewelsfromthethrone.com. I appreciate everybody that tapped in today. I hope you can see the correlation between the order of Set, which is an old order of the devil, and the order of the MAGA party and Donald Trump, and how they follow that order of the devil and use that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to dominate the world. As they set upon their world quest right now to make America great again by making everybody else submit to the will of America. Let me say that again. They want to make America great again by making everybody else across the world submit to the will of the devil. And yes, this is a Christian philosophy. The number is open, 323-497-6825. I appreciate everybody who has tapped in. You know who this is. It's Min Keparov, the great, the Nesubiti. May peace be upon your family. May you be blessed. May Ra continue to shine his divine light upon you. And may you continue to live in the light and not the darkness. Peace and blessings. Hotep.